Hey everybody, this is TJR.
And this is Superfan.
And we're here for part 2 of Live Aid.
Grogu wants to know why we're torturing him.
He needs to learn about music history. It's time he understand what good music is all about.
He
basically.
Still says the band on Tatooine was better.
There's more to music than TikTok, okay, buddy? Anyhow, this is the second part of the Live Aid, which is available on YouTube on the Live Aid YouTube channel. They've got it broken up into easy to consume chapters, roughly about an hour or so each.
45 minutes to an hour, yeah.
Roughly, maybe a little bit more, you never know. Anyways, though, we've already done one episode. As we're recording this one, we have not yet posted the first episode. And whether or not we do a video for every single chapter is going to depend on the response to these early videos that we're doing here. We might get out 2 or 3 of them before we can really know, but we'll see how response is. So if you want to see us cover the entire Live Aid, show, let us know. We're going to watch this regardless. We decided we wanted to re-experience this, and I really recommend it. So far, it's been a unique experience. These first 2 episodes, so much some of it I had not seen before because I was not there for this early part. I was sleeping. We already joked about that in the last episode.
Slacker.
And but a lot of artists that I maybe was not as into back then, I have a different appreciation for now.
Yeah.
And I think that's what I would say is don't just say, oh, well, I'm going to watch that one band I knew back then and just that's it. Try to really watch these groups because there's a lot to be enjoyed and a lot of surprises. And so, speaking of surprises, I was very surprised by the first act that opens part 2. But before we get to them, there's a little
Montage.
Backstage montage where you see different artists hanging out backstage.
Yeah.
We see David Bowie and Paul McCartney together, hanging out together.
Yeah, Brian Ferry is there.
A very young Bono. We saw him there. George Michael.
Yep.
And a couple others. And there was this little bit of signage backstage they had there.
Yeah, because they were very limited on time.
Yeah.
Each act got 15 minutes. Basically 3 songs.
Mm-hmm.
Some did less though, like Adamant.
Just did one song.
One song.
Yeah.
And Elvis Costello only did 1 song too.
That's right. But before we get to him, we've got Ultravox, but there was this little signage. I want to get back to that signage.
Oh yeah.
It said, "Killing time murders success."
Yes.
And I've never heard that phrase before, but I rather like it.
It's very appropriate.
Yeah, very, very appropriate. And that brings us, of course, now to the first act of part 2, which is Ultravox. And now this is one of those bands from the 80s. I knew the name.
Yeah.
But didn't really know their music. They were also part of that whole 80s synth-driven pop music. Robert used to call it romantic, pop.
Yeah, there was...
Duran Duran being like a primary example of it.
Duran Duran, Spandau Ballet were considered new romantic.
Yeah. And I
Then it kind of became all lumped under new wave.
Yeah. And I kind of pictured them as being part of that. And they did have a lot of synth in their music, but I was surprised at how rock they were too.
Yes.
The lead singer, and he was also a guitar player.
Yeah.
Was playing some heavy rock guitar. He was even doing a lot of the, whammy bar bends and, kind of the crazy, whammy bar bends and all of that. I was surprised. I didn't expect that.
Yeah.
He's also a really good singer.
Yeah.
And you were telling me he co-wrote.
He co-wrote "Do They Know It's Christmas?" Yeah.
Yeah, he co-wrote that song. And, but yeah, I was surprised that they were much more rock than I would have thought.
And his name is Midger.
That's right. There was something about his name you were saying, Midger.
It's basically, he was in a band. His name is James.
Yeah.
His given name. And because he was in a band with another guy named Jim,
Yeah.
they changed his name to Midge.
I see. And Midge is Jim backwards.
Midge is Jim backwards.
That's right.
And it stuck.
Yes, well, it certainly added to that whole '80s kind of how shall I put it? There was just a certain aesthetic to it, and again, one that I rejected in my youth, but that name certainly fits that aesthetic. Midge Ure.
Yeah.
Now Midge is Jim, but what was Ure?
His last name.
Oh, that is his real last name.
Yeah, U-R-E.
U-R-E. Okay, Midge Ure. It just has that very kind of how shall I put it? Exotic. I don't know. European feel to it, I guess.
Yeah.
Anyways, though, but yeah, much more rock than I thought they would be. And he's got a really powerful voice. After that, we cut away to Japan. We have 2 performances. They say live by satellite from Japan. The first being Loudness, which was a metal band back at that time that I had heard about. There was a metal rock station in Southern California called KNAC, and they were the only station that was playing them in Southern California, but I knew of them. I was never honestly that impressed by them, not as musicians, but just the songs themselves.
They were
just
cookie cutter metal band.
The riffs were fine, but on this song, but it's like they were better than I remember. This particular song was better than I remember, but it was nothing that would I felt like would really connected, and I was into that. The 80s.
That was your...
No, it wasn't my only thing, but I was into it along with a lot of other things. I was just
it
as much...
It wasn't my thing.
I was just as much into Elvis Costello as I was into, heavy metal rock music as well. And a lot of other artists that didn't fit that genre. But this one, not so much. But performance was fine. Then we followed...
It was not a live performance with an audience, though.
I'm assuming it was live. It says live by satellite, but you're right.
Yeah.
There's probably no audience.
There was no audience there.
They're filming in a studio. We got this performance of Loudness, and then it faded out before they could finish their song, and we get a performance by an artist that I've never heard before, Eikichi Yazawa.
Yeah.
Who I liked, actually, I liked better than Loudness. I actually thought the song was pretty catchy. I have no idea what the song was, because I don't speak Japanese or understand it.
Well, no, that was in English anyway.
It didn't sound like it was in English.
It was in English.
Okay, well, it didn't sound like it. I'm going to go back and double check that. I'm not sure you're right about that. But I like the song just musically and melodically. I liked it.
Loudness was in Japanese.
Okay.
I think.
Okay, you think.
But
I couldn't tell what it was. But I kind of felt bad for both these acts in that they kind of get just kind of cut off.
Short-shrifted.
Yeah, they kind of get short-shrifted.
It's once again that time thing.
Yeah, the whole time thing. You're right. Okay, we stopped the camera and we rewatched it.
We were both right.
We were both right. It was half in Japanese. The verses were in Japanese. The choruses were in English. And it's a fun little song. I really like this song. I'd never heard it before. I thought it was pretty cool.
Well, maybe we'll look for it out when we're there.
Yeah. Well, let's look for the song. And so this brings us to Spandau Ballet. And now this is a song, this is a band that I was familiar with back then.
Yeah.
They were considered part of that whole 80s, new wave scene.
New romantic
scene, yeah. But I really liked that song, True, that hit single they had. That's all I knew them for, was that one song. But I thought that was a beautiful song.
It is a beautiful
song. And so this idea that maybe I looked all, long-haired, Hessian, whatever, but that doesn't mean that was all I listened to.
You were a long-haired freak.
So my mother said. But I really loved this song. I always loved it. It's a beautiful song. They were a good, solid band. This is, like I said, the only time I've ever seen them play live anywhere. And good, solid band. I'm maybe not into all of their stuff, but I really enjoyed that song a lot. Still really think it's a wonderful song.
Gotta give Tony Hadley, the singer, credit for wearing his leathers on stage.
Yeah, it's probably pretty hot out there.
Yeah.
Summer, July, in England.
Yeah.
And I don't know how hot it gets out there during the summer. We've never been there in the summer. We've only been there in the fall.
Or the winter.
Or the winter, yeah. But
It was pretty cold in the winter.
yes. But anyway, so yes, he still wore his leathers. He
Yeah.
kept his rock and roll cred, whereas the others wore cotton.
Yeah, one was wearing...
They were smarter to be wearing that.
Basically a jacket, no shirt.
Yeah.
He's probably the smartest one.
Probably. Then we have our first act from the U.S. We shift over to the United States, and we have Joan Baez.
Condescending as ever.
Now, this is where you and I really kind of get at it with each other. You have a real issue with her performance, and do you want to just explain this issue you have? I don't agree with you at all, one bit about it, but tell me what this issue is. I want everyone to hear this.
Well, in this situation, she's performing Amazing Grace.
Yeah.
And as she's singing the song, right before she sings it, she speaks the lyrics as if nobody in the audience could possibly know this song. So she's speaking the lyrics and then singing it so that people can sing along with her. And it just grates.
Really?
It does. It really bugs me.
Why?
And I've seen her do it live as well. When I went to the Amnesty concert.
Yeah.
Actually, I went to both Amnesty concerts when they came through LA.
And she did it then?
She did it then
with every song? Every song?
Every song.
She'd speak the lyric and then sing it so that people could sing along with her? I mean, okay.
Amazing Grace.
Which you feel everybody
Imagine.
knows. I would imagine that, no pun intended, but I would imagine that if she's playing in front, that the audience that would be there to see her would know the lyrics to Imagine. They don't need someone to give it to them ahead of time.
Yeah.
And maybe it's just, to me this doesn't bother me that much. Maybe because it's only one song. Now, maybe if I saw her in concert and she did this with every song, it'd start to get on my nerves. I could imagine that, and no pun intended, that it would. But for just this, it doesn't bother me really.
But she.
I don't know if that's part of like a folk tradition because she's a folk artist where you give the word and then you sing it so everybody can sing it together. I don't know if that's a folk tradition or not.
How could anybody possibly not want to sing along with her? Whereas you watch the next artist, Elvis Costello.
Yeah. And he gives a great performance. He only does one song.
And everybody knows it and is singing along with him.
Yeah.
Without being fed lyrics.
Okay. Well,
it's just distracting and unnecessary.
And the song he does is so perfect. The song he does is All You Need Is Love. He's out there by himself with his guitar. And of course, I would say the audience probably knows All You Need Is Love more than they might know Amazing Grace. I know it's supposed to be a universally well-known song, but if you asked me right now to recite the lyrics to Amazing Grace, I wouldn't be able to. I really wouldn't be able to. I mean, I know the melody. Amazing Grace, how sweet the sound.
Yet you just did.
I knew that part, but for the most part, I wouldn't know it. I'd be going la 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 la. I'd be like faking my way.
And if the audience is going la 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 in that big of a group, nobody's gonna notice.
True, that's true. This really bugs you, but okay. I still don't get it. Maybe I would if I watched an entire concert and she did that for every song. Then yes, that would just bug me. It's like, come on, just perform the song, please. Let the song stand for itself. You don't need to feed everybody the lyrics. So I can see where you get annoyed if she did it all the time with every single song. But for just this, it does. Not that bugged by it. Oh, and I should mention that after Joan Baez, we switched back to England, and that's where we have Elvis Costello doing All You Need Is Love. And and in fact, the audience knows the song so well that when he's singing the chorus is All You Need Is Love, then the audience is going the ra-ba-da-da-da. They're just basically giving him the horn section because he's just by himself with guitar. And they actually give him that.
Yeah.
That's great.
I mean, but it happened naturally.
Yeah.
Whereas
okay,
the other performer,
yes, whom you are not naming,
is trying to force it.
Okay.
Rather than let it
happen naturally.
Thing.
Okay. I just don't understand. I don't have the same beef you have with her. But okay, let's move on. Let's set that aside and let's move on. But yeah, great performance by Elvis Costello, and a real joy to listen to. And to close out chapter 2, we switch over to Austria. And we basically have what looks like the end of a much larger performance.
Yeah.
It just simply says Austria for Africa. And we have just a huge amount of performers on stage.
Yeah.
We've got a huge festival audience. It's nighttime there. And it looks like we're at the end of like a bigger show because you've got all these different artists and performers performing the same song together. I don't know who any of them are.
No.
And
it's in German.
It's in German, but they do have a translation on the screen of the lyrics. But I feel like they actually had their own like festival there where different artists performed, and then they all got together on stage at once for the ending of their.
And this is their contribution.
Yeah, and this is their contribution to it, and this is the ending of that. Yeah, just a big, huge, giant jam session.
Seem like they're having a good time.
It does seem like they're having a very good time. And this closes out chapter 2, which is a shorter chapter. It's just about 45 minutes or so, roughly, this one, whereas the others were closer to an hour. All in all, not a bad part 2.
No.
And a lot of cool stuff. We're going to come back, of course. We'll probably have part 3, again, posted before part 1 even airs on the channal.
Yeah, we'll have that.
And we'll be wanting to check out your reaction and see if we're going to watch this regardless. But whether we do more video commentary, like I said, is dependent upon your reaction here. Even when I may not have known the songs or may not have been into them in any kind of big way, I still was enjoying the performances and the energy.
Yeah,
and
a lot more rock than you thought.
A lot more rock than I thought, but just really solid performing and strong musicianship. And so yeah, I really appreciated that.
Well, it's that European, we actually teach music.
Yeah, that's true. I'll never forget one time I went to the NAMM show and I was in a piano room and there was this gentleman there playing the piano, and I asked him, so you're a professional pianist? He said, no, I'm a chemist, I think he said. Or he had some kind of scientific profession. I said, oh. And he said, but I studied piano in school, he said.
And he was German.
Yeah, he was German, that's right. And of course, because they have music education in schools.
Yes.
Which we don't think is important here in the United States. Anyways, though, but that's a whole nother rant. Very quickly, you're going to see some links to some other videos that I've created, and I hope you'll check those out. If you like these videos, if you enjoy this, please hit like. And a big thank you to the Patreon supporters. Patreon supporters get exclusive content not available on this channel.
You are fierce and mighty.
And looking forward to hearing what you have to say about these acts. And again, I think it's great that this is being made available in this way. And I think it's a great thing to re-experience if you were there originally. And if you were never there, you should check it out. And if you were there, but you now have kids, maybe tell them about what this was and what it meant. And, see if they can pull away from TikTok long enough to actually sit and watch a concert performance.
45,
Yeah, 45 minutes to an hour concert performance that it was an all-day event.
Yep.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
It was amazing, yeah.
And it's one of those moments in time
that
I think everybody remembers the day it happened and where they were and what they were doing.
Yeah, if you're any kind of music fan, you do. And I've never forgotten it. And like I said, it's great to experience it again.
Yeah.
And we're just barely getting started. This is only part 2, only chapter 2. Okay, we'll be back with chapter 3. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you in the next video. Take care. Bye-bye.